Welcome to the Freedom Collective 7-figure blueprint to launching an online business. We first just want to pause and celebrate you for being willing to do something different, because most people, they say they want to change, but they're not actually willing to go forward and do what it takes to get that change for themselves. But you're here because you're different. So today, we want to cover with you, we're first going to show you how this business is unlike anything else in this online space. We offer you real financial solutions, a return on your investment, and leverage income opportunities. We also teach you how you can start and duplicate this process with us as your mentors and utilizing our proven sales and marketing systems. And last but not least, we share with you the products that we're partnered with, as well as the patented compensation plan that will allow you to make 5-figure months while promoting health plus sustainability. But first, who am I? Hi again, I'm Kristen, and I used to be in human resources management, and I was just burnt out. I had a really good trajectory of where I was going. I was climbing that corporate ladder, but I found that I was constantly searching for other ways, and I wanted to travel, and I wanted to work from home and just have true independence over my time and my schedule. And ultimately, I just knew that I was meant for so much more. And so fast forward now, going on 7 years, I have done over 2 million in high ticket sales. I've retired myself and my husband from our 9-to-5 jobs, mine after the first year of building this business. And then in the second year, I retired my husband. And then we did an RV trip across America for a year and a half with our dog. And then we welcomed our first baby into the world. We did an around the world trip, which was epic. And then we welcomed our daughter into the world. And now we're both just being able to work from home and present parent alongside of each other. But ultimately, I want to know what brought you here today, and really think about that. And there's probably a few different reasons. It could be that maybe this isn't your first webinar, and maybe you have explored other avenues in this space before, but by the end of this call, you're going to understand exactly why this business is so different and why people here are actually experiencing the success that we've had. And maybe it's that you've tried building something before, you've tried to do something in the online space, and maybe you just didn't get the traction that you were hoping for. And we all know that with any business, you do have to have products, you have to have funnels, you have to have certain tech things, and you need the support, which can take years to develop if you're doing that from scratch and if you're doing that alone. But with what we have a proven sales system that has funnels pre-built for you. We have medical grade products that we're about to go over with you. And most importantly, we have a duplicatable blueprint that handles the tech side for you so that you can just plug in and just get to moving forward. And you also might be sitting here just maybe a little nervous, like so many of us were when we first were starting this and when we were in your exact shoes. And you could just be fearful, afraid of failure or what people might think of you. And also a little bit of that is probably stemming from the lies that we have been told to believe from big corporations that they, have spewed into us, that you have to live one certain way to have a successful life, that it's through a 9-to-5, or you have to have some fancy degree, or that if you do something of your own, you need a ton of venture capital to actually see results. And for a long time, a lot of us here on this call and in our community believe that exact same thing. But what you really want in your life is true time freedom. You want flexibility, and you just want the ability of something that fits into your life and not the other way around, which is really important. And you're here because you envision a different future for yourself. And we all know that to create new results, we have to take new actions. You can't just keep doing the same thing. What got you here isn't going to get you there. And today we're going to talk about how we can bridge that gap for you. So what we do is called affiliate marketing. And what's the benefit of that? With affiliate marketing, there is no market research, there is no product development, and you don't have to stock up of inventory in your home. You don't have to be chained to your desk, and there is absolutely no cold calling. Hallelujah. And so with all of that being said, I'm actually going to hand it over to Christy so she can shed some light around what our actual affiliations are.
Hello, everybody. My name is Christy, and a little bit about me. So, this is my family. And, previous to starting this business, I worked a corporate 9-to-5 for 24 years and was on the path to work until I was 65, never really thinking there was any other path to take. The company that I was working for started laying people off, including my husband, after he had been with the same company for 22 years. I know so many people, unfortunately, can relate to this because layoffs have become so rampant rampant. And so it's really wonderful when you have a backup or another path that's going to not make you always just rely on a traditional 9 to 5. And then I started kind of getting to a point where I was lacking passion and purpose beyond my family and faith. And so that is why I took the leap of faith and joined this incredible business opportunity. And so I'm over 4 years into this business. I'm a multi six-figure online business owner. Fun fact, I did do $50,000 in sales in my first 60 days. And I have had so many more experiences and memories that I've been able to make with my family. And my next goal is to retire my hubby from his super stressful job. And I'm just on a mission to help as many people as possible because impact is what it's all about. So let's talk a little bit about the amazing product because that matters, right? When you're starting a business, you have to have something that you're selling. So, what is that? And so, I first want to start you with this thought: whoever solves the biggest problems gets paid the biggest paychecks. And boy, do we have the problem of all problems ready to be solved. So, my first question is, let me ask you, how much water do you drink a day? Have you ever actually thought about what is in your water? Do you think bottled water is better for you than tap? And is water actually good for your health? And so you probably have heard the statistic before, but our bodies are made up of over 70% water. So doesn't it make sense to consume the best water possible, the best quality water? Because I'm about to do a spoiler. Not all water is created equal. So here we go. So let's talk a little bit about the problem. First, we're going to talk about bottled water. So currently, there are more than 24,000 cancerous chemicals found in leading water bottle brands nationwide. Most people don't know that over 64% of all bottled water is just tap water, and it is one of the most deregulated industries that exists. Most of the bottled water companies aren't producing water, they're producing the plastic that the water is coming from. And of course, we know single-use plastic water bottles continue to destroy the planet, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. First of all, let's talk about contaminants. So this is one of the facts that has become just it's continuing to increase in data that is being released, and it's really scary. But 93% of bottled water actually contains microplastics. So these are actually like tiny little particles that you can't see to the eye, and it's a myriad of toxic chemicals that include neurotoxins, carcinogens, and endocrine disruptors. And so you can actually look this information up and you will see that you're digesting in one bottle of water the equivalent of one credit card in microplastics. Let that sink in. That is what you're drinking, and that is potentially what your family is drinking. In addition to that, the water that we use every day that's coming through our homes and the tap water is filled with also contaminants. And actually, I want to go back to the slide real quick and tell you at the bottom of this, there is a tap water database. If you're in the United States, just go to ewg.org/tapwater, put your zip code in, and it will tell you what is actually in your local source water. This was one of the biggest eye-opening things that helped me realize that, oh my goodness, like what I'm consuming, what my family is consuming and putting in our bodies is not okay. There are things like arsenic and so many other actual toxic contaminants that are coming through our tap water, and it's a scary thing. So this is an example of the actual real pipe that your water is traveling through. Chemicals, drugs, odors, sediment, everything from rust, chlorine to fluoride, pharmaceuticals are actually all able to slip in micro doses into the water that you're consuming. And you might go, well, that's okay because I don't drink the tap water. I know that that's not good for me. However, you're showering, bathing, washing your hands, doing your laundry, rinsing your food, boiling your noodles for spaghetti, watering your plants, giving it to your pets, brushing your teeth, all with this contaminated water. In addition, I mentioned earlier that the impact to the actual planet obviously is huge, but did you know that approximately 200 million metric tons of plastic is in our ocean? That's crazy. 3 times the size of France. That is what is happening as we continue to consume all of this bottled water. So let's talk a little bit about, after now that we've painted a really clear picture of the problem and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I can never touch a bottle of water or tap water again. Don't worry, we got you covered. So, around the world, there's actually miracle healing waters that have been found and sought after for thousands of years. And these waters from these places, just as an example listed here, have been found to contain an abundance of molecular hydrogen, otherwise known as H2, which is the world's most therapeutic antioxidant. And what is incredible is that the company that we have partnered with that has created this amazing business opportunity has been able to create breakthrough in water technology and mimic these naturally miracle waters. And so in the 1970s, Japanese scientists discovered a way to do that. And that is where the incredible product has been formed. And I'm going to talk to you guys about the company for just a second. So Enagic is the leader in manufacturing medical grade water ionizers since the 70s. It is over a 50-year company based in Osaka, Japan. It is the only medical grade water ionizer that exists in the world because one, it is actually used in hospitals and it is ISO certified quality and has control processes, which that might not mean a lot to you, but as you learn a little bit more, we're going to dive into what exactly that means. So this is time tested and proven. So again, over a 50-year company, OEM original equipment manufacturer, registered as medical grade equipment, and has received the gold standard seal from the Water Quality Association. It's used in hundreds and thousands of hospitals, restaurants, and what's really awesome, it's only in 1 in every 500 homes in the USA. So when you're looking at a business opportunity, you want to say, do I have something that people need? One, people are always going to need water. People need to drink water to even live, right? It's one of the most important things we consume on a daily basis. But also, we get the question a lot, is it saturated? And this kind of shows you that there's so much opportunity and we're on the ups, we're going up. And there's over 1 million Kangen water machines that we have sold worldwide. So it's absolutely incredible. All right, so we're going to dive into the actual machine called the Kangen 8, also known as the K8. Kangen means return to origin in Japanese, and it includes these water properties. It's antioxidating, it has amazing alkalinity, which is a higher pH, and we'll dive into what all of this means. It is restructured water, active in molecular hydrogen, the H2 I was mentioning, and it has a negative ORP. And again, this medical grade water ionizer, it creates active, alkalized, hydrogen-rich drinking water. Truly incredible. So antioxidation, let's talk a little bit about that and break it down. So when you think of oxidation, there is antioxidation and an oxidation. So this is the aging process. So something is either aging or anti-aging, right? We're always looking for the fountain of youth. Well, this machine is literally giving that to you. So when you, cut an apple open, it starts to brown pretty immediately. That is the process of oxidation. So everything we're putting in our bodies, everything we're consuming is either oxidating or antioxidating. Kangen water has the highest antioxidant content compared to any liquid on the planet, and antioxidants actually benefit the body by neutralizing and removing free radicals from the bloodstream. So this is literally your ability to have the fountain of youth at your fingertips. Alkalinity is the water pH scale. So when you're looking at alkalinity, you have everything that is either on the disease side or the alkaline side, which is more of health. So this is where when you drink alcohol or soda, right, that's not good for you, right? We know that those things are acidic in nature. And so alkaline rich water actually helps balance the body's pH, which already tends to be more acidic because of the things that we eat and drink and the stress and environmental exposures. Disease cannot thrive in an alkaline environment. So being able to drink actual alkalized water every day is truly a gift. What I love the most, and I get really excited about this piece probably even more than the others, is what makes this water so special is also that it is H2 active hydrogen. So I was mentioning this previously. So H2 has therapeutic potential for over 170 diseases. There's a ton of research coming out about the benefits to H2. Molecular hydrogen is an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-aging, anti-diabetic, and anti-tumor. So that's why we drink the water every day and we're sharing it passionately with others. We do not make medical claims, but this water and the testimonials that are coming out of the people that are actually drinking this is incredible. So let's talk a little bit about the actual ionizer. So it's one machine, but it produces 5 different water types, which is very cool as well. So you've got your 9.5 pH drinking water, which goes through kind of all the benefits that I mentioned in the previous slides. It also produces a 7.0 clean water, a 6.0 beauty water, which is great for using as a facial toner and astringent. You have 11.5 pH strong Kangen water. So this is actually a highly alkaline water, and this will strip oil-based pesticides from your produce. So you can actually use it to wash your fruits and veggies, and you will be shocked at what comes off of it. It's also a great degreaser for your oven and your kitchen. The 2.5 pH strong acidic water, you literally have at your fingertips strong acidic water, so you can clean your entire house with this water. It is actually stronger than bleach, and so you have everything all in one. So this machine replaces your bottled water, your all-purpose cleaner, bleach, laundry detergent, fruit and veggie wash, makeup remover, toner, deodorant, conditioner, fabric softener, mouthwash, hand sanitizer, and more. We actually have an amazing PDF. You can reach out to the person who invited you, and they can show you over 70 uses of this actual water based off the pH. This machine alone saves the average family of 4 over $2,000 a year, and that's on the low end. So it is truly an investment that keeps on giving. It improves your overall health and well-being, reduces plastic and helps the environment, saves you money and time, and what we're here and why you're here, which is enabling you to build a freedom-based online business that is yours. So let's talk about why you're here. How much money can be made with this business? I'm going to turn it over to Marissa, who's going to share all the details.
Hey guys, thanks so much, Christy. So like Christy said, how much money can really be made with this business? We know that this is probably one of the main reasons that you guys are here. So I'm going to be talking all about that today. But before we dive in, I wanted to just share a little bit of a quote with you guys, and I want you to sit with it for a second. This is what we offer you today: a life-changing health tool, a hydrogen water ionizer. Water isn't just another product, it's life. You can't survive without it. Unlike products that expire and come with auto ship hassles, clean water is a necessity today, tomorrow, and always. It's the most powerful resource on this planet, and I'm beyond grateful to help people experience its impact. And this is exactly what we are going to be teaching you guys to do. So without further ado, let's dive in. Before we do that, I want to share a little bit about myself with you guys. If you don't know me, hey, my name is Marissa. And long story short, I was what you would call a society norm follower my entire life. I went to college, I got good grades, I graduated with honors. A couple years out of college, still couldn't find a career in my desired field. So I was bartending, just doing, kind of odd jobs. And then I moved across the country and I became a police officer. I thought this was it. This was going to be my forever career, 40 plus years, the career you think you're going to be in forever. But I was never one of those people that really knew what I was passionate about. And over a year in this field, I realized that I was not super passionate about what I was doing. And unfortunately, I saw myself rapidly declining. I had a very hard time kind of separating the job from my personal life, and I was not willing to do that long term. I was so burnt out. I was crying every single day, but I was in so much debt from college that I really wanted to stick it out. But at the end of the day, I just couldn't. I actually quit my job, and 2 days after quitting my job, fate aligned and I found this business opportunity. And obviously, I left the job force forever. Not only did I leave the job force forever, I actually retired my husband as well. And we have built a multiple 7-figure business all through these products that Christy shared and the business model that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. My husband and I now generate more income in 1 month than we used to in 6 months. We've created true time, location, and financial freedom. We have traveled the world. We did van life for 2 years, traveling around the United States. And now we get to be present parents to our first little one, never missing a moment with her, getting to spend every single day with her, which I didn't realize was going to have such an impact on my life as it has now. I originally started this because I wanted freedom, but being able to create that freedom for my entire family has been absolutely life-changing. So What is this business? We are not a typical like MLM or pyramid type structure. This is a true direct sales model where you can make and earn more money than the person who referred you or introduced you to this business. We are part of the Direct Selling Association. So what does that mean? You can see that that DSA symbol right in the middle. This basically means no monthly qualifications, no inventory, no deranking, no licensing, unlimited income opportunity, all based on accumulative sales, multiple ways to earn an income, pays daily, and a true passive income business model. These are going to be the core products that we offer within Enagic. The K8 is obviously the flagship water ionizer that Christy went all into on all of the other slides previously. We also have the Anespa, which is a premium shower filter that removes toxic chemicals from your water and runs your shower water through volcanic stones for a spa-like experience. It's one of my favorite products. I absolutely love it. We also have the Ukon, which is a chemical-free wild turmeric. If you've never taken turmeric or you've never really heard of it, do a quick Google search on the insane benefits that turmeric has on the body. It is a mega anti-inflammatory and has antioxidant and antibacterial properties as well. We also have the M-Guard, which is an EMF detector and defense from exposure to electromagnetic fields found in everyday technology, like your phone, laptop, television, all of those things. And then we have the Kangen Air, which is a plug and play air purifier. So our top core 4 offers and the commission paid out on all of these products. So I touched on all of, the core products that we have, but let's dive into the commission on these products. So we have the K8 strategy, which pays out $2,800 in commission. Yes, you heard that right. And it only gets better from here, as you can see. The Duo, which is typically the K8 and Ukon strategy, pays out $3,605 in commissions. That's $3,605 in commissions on these 2 products. We then have our trifecta, which is one of each, and that pays out up to $4,815 in commission. And then our quad, which is a 4-product strategy, and that pays out over $7,000 in commission. I had to do that slow because you guys really need to take that in for a second. And basically, there is an 8-point commission structure with this company. As you make sales, you will collect more and more points or pieces of the pie, as you can see from this graphic here, starting out making 1A or 1 point of commission all the way up to 6A, collecting 6, 7, and 8 points of commission. And for the K8 specifically, we are looking at commissions paid out from $350 to $2,100 plus for one single product. One single sale in a month, and you can make about $2,100 just on one single K8 sale. And it does go up from there as well, which I will get into in a second. We're going to talk about the Duo next, which is that same structure, that 1A to 6A, collecting 1 to 6 points. And then you have 7 and 8. We are going from $930 in commission to over $3,200 for one single Duo sale. Then we have our trifecta strategy, again, collecting that same 1 to 6 points of commission, and then 7 and 8. And that commission ranges from over $1,300 to just shy of $5,000 for a single trifecta sale. And last, but certainly not least, the big boy, which is the quad, collecting, again, 1 to 6 points of commission. Then we have 7 and 8. Going from a little over $3,000 in commission to over $7,000 with one single quad sale. And you will be learning our exact strategies, getting you to all 8 points. So right now we're really showing you kind of around 6 points, but we teach you to, once you get to 50 sales, which is the rank of 5A, and those sales can be direct or indirect, you will be able to collect all 8 points of commission. So here's a pretty little layout of everything I just went over on one slide. Go ahead and take a screenshot so you can see everything side by side and really, compare and contrast with all of these, the different offers that we have. And you can really focus on what is truly possible with this compensation plan. Like I said before, the total payout ranges from about $350 to over $7,000 per sale. And while you take a second to look at this slide, I want you to just think about this for a second. What would even just one K8 sale in a month do for your life, for you and your family? That's $2,800 in commission with one sale, or one single quad sale in a month, over 7K in commissions, which is more than I used to make in an entire month in my previous career, busting my butt. And I made way less than that in a month. To be able to do that with just one sale here is absolutely insane. And this is the beauty of high ticket. We are talking high-end products yielding high-end commissions. So you do not have to make 1,000 sales to make a life-changing income. You can focus on just making a few. And don't worry, you don't personally need to know who to sell these products to. Sarah's going to go into that in just a little while. I want to talk to you about your first major milestone within the company. Why is 6A? 6A is going to be your first major milestone, but why is 6A so important? It is the first highest level rank within the company, meaning your business now unlocks full commission potential and qualifies you for massive bonuses and incentives. So how do you get there? This is just kind of a little layout of how to actually get there. Getting to 6A is only 25 quad sales. There's 25 sales to get you to 6A, or 33 trifecta sales, or about 101 K8 sales. So like I said before, we are talking a handful of sales to get you to your first major milestone within the company. And it only gets better from there. So another slide I want you to take a screenshot of. There's 3 things I want you to take a screenshot of. It was the other one, this one, and then one more coming up. Breaking it down, just 5 K8 sales in a month, and you can have your first $10,000 month in the online space. This is a huge goal for a lot of people. They, come in and they're like, I want to make 5 figures. I want to hit my first $10,000 month. And this is how you do it. 5 K8 sales to have a $10,000 month, or 10 quad sales, and you've made over $60,000. That is more than some people make in an entire year, which can be made in literally 10 sales. I remember the first month I know exactly where I was when I hit this too. I made more commission in 1 month than I used to in 6 months in my career. And that is the moment I truly knew I was in the right place. This business can be absolutely life-changing if you allow it to be. And this is the last slide I want to leave you with, and the last slide, most important slide. And I want you to take a second and again, take a screenshot. So you have 3 things that you can really be focusing on and looking at when it comes to commission. And this is the most important. When I saw this slide for the first time, I had been sold on the business before this, but this was it for me. This really solidified that I was in the right place, and there was absolutely nothing else in the world that was going to compare to what this company offers. So when you hit the rank of 6A, which we already talked about, you are going to receive a one-time $3,000 bonus. Awesome. Congratulations. But then you hit 6A2, and you're going to receive a one-time $6,000 bonus. And you can see what it takes to get to all of these ranks. So you can, like I said, that's why I want you to take a screenshot and really look at this. Then at the rank of 6A2-2, you are looking at a one-time $12,000 bonus. And then you can see we have it circled for you, the rank of 6A2-3. This is what is called legacy income. You receive a one-time $25,000 bonus and $5,000 a month for the rest of your life. Let that sink in. For as long as you live, you can collect this $5,000 a month for the rest of your life. And there is a reason we call it legacy income. Not only will the company pay you out for life, they give you the opportunity to will this income to a child as well, meaning we are giving you the opportunity to create generational wealth for yourself and your family. And then we have -4, which is a $50,000 bonus and $10K a month for life. And we keep going until we get to 6A2-8, which is a one-time bonus of $800,000. That's almost $1 million for hitting this rank, plus all of the commission that you're already making for the sales that you are doing. This is basically just a thank you from the company, which is absolutely insane. And that is $80,000 a month for the rest of your life. So like I said, if you haven't taken a screenshot, do it now, take a photo on your phone. And I want you to think about for a second, what's your goal? We have taught you about the products. We have now taught you about the compensation plan and what is possible. But I want you to take a second and think about, what is that goal for you? What of these ranks would you be able to see yourself hitting? And just sit in that for a second and think about it. And again, you can reach out to the person that invited you here and ask them, what a goal would be for you if you know the level of income that you desire. But this compensation plan is absolutely insane. And I am going to pass it on to Sarah from here. And Sarah's going to go over the how. So how we make sales and how we do all of this.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Marissa. Seriously, so many amazing ways that this business pays and supports you were just unpacked there. And then also earlier, you heard from Christy. She broke down the products, which is such a good foundation to understand what we actually market here. So now that you've got the full scoop on both sides, the product and the compensation side, the next thing that I want to cover with you is how we market in a way that brings in those sales and commissions that you just learned about. And the good news is it's a lot simpler than you might think. And if you're thinking, well, I don't personally know anyone who would want one of those ionizers, that is totally fine. You do not have to. What we do is leverage digital marketing, which is one of the strongest and most effective ways to reach people who are already searching for what we offer. So you're not relying on friends or family. You're not guessing. You are learning how to put these products and this business opportunity in front of people who are actively looking for them. And the best part is you don't have to figure out the tech or the strategy or anything like that on your own. Everything is already built for you and you're taught step by step how to set it all up. And I'm going to show you exactly how that works in just a second. But before I do, I want to quickly introduce myself so that you know who's guiding you, through this part. So my name is Sarah. I am a small town farm girl from Illinois. And prior to getting started with this business, I was a tax and audit accountant. So I was stuck at a desk in a cubicle, crunching numbers day in and day out, being left with absolutely no time for my husband, our farm, our animals, and the things that I'm truly passionate about. And I knew that that was not a sustainable long-term career path for the lifestyle that I was wanting to live. I needed a better balance between work life and personal life because there's just not enough time in a day for there not to be. So I decided to make a change and dive into this business so that I could really take the reins and take control over my time and financial freedom. And since getting started, oh my gosh, so much has changed. I originally started this part-time alongside my full-time job. So it was just an extra income for me in the beginning. But I have been able to transition out of my 9 to 5 and quit there. I have more than quadrupled my previous income. So although I had a well-paying job before, this business has been able to provide so much more. And not only that, it supported me in so many life moments and milestones. Things like helping me pay off loans early, getting engaged, throwing the most beautiful wedding. We purchased our farm and our first house, and then we completely gutted the house, renovated it entirely, and got to turn it into our dream home. We purchased land to expand on personal goals that we have. We started a family and have 2 kiddos. And with that, we were able to comfortably cover all of our medical bills that came along with it, and just so much more. So the financial opportunity that this business has just really helped us fast track our goals and lifestyle. Goals that we once talked about being on our 5, 10, 15, 20-year plan were things I was able to start checking off in the first couple of months of me getting started with this business, which is just so special and something I'm so grateful for. And, beyond all of that, something that money cannot buy, I have more time. And, I have that control over my time and schedule, which has helped tremendously with having a better work-life balance, providing so much freedom and breathing room within my day-to-day. So overall, this has just been a valuable change for myself and my husband and our growing family. So I am so excited for you to be here and checking out this opportunity for yourself. But all right. Now that you know who I am, let's just zoom out and talk about this business model and how it works and why the online space is such an incredible place to build something of your own. So right now, there are over 5.6 billion social media users. That is an unbelievable amount of daily attention happening in one place. And combine that with the average person already spending 3 to 5 hours a day on their phone on social media, doing scrolling and searching and shopping and video watching. People are online more than ever, which means the opportunity to reach them is bigger than ever. So lots and lots of opportunity from a marketing perspective with those kind of massive numbers. And then, take a look at the next point. So digital marketing as a whole is projected to reach $1.4 trillion over the next few years. It is one of the fastest growing industries that you can step into. So it's a great thing that you are here learning how to plug directly into that. And then the next thing that I want to touch on is what makes this business so effective. And it's simple. We use paid marketing. So that means you're reaching people who are already searching for the exact solution and products that we offer. You're not chasing, you're not hoping, you are placing the right offer in front of the right person. And you're actually already seeing ads on social media every single day as you scroll. But right now, you're just on the receiving end. And here you'll be taught how to run them and be the one running the ads. So on the next slide, I'm going to show you exactly how paid marketing works and how we teach total beginners how to plug into it step by step. Okay, so and now that you understand the opportunity in the online space, let's talk about what paid marketing actually looks like, because this is, usually the spot where it makes most people go like, oh, wait, okay, I could actually do this. So paid marketing simply means that your ads are doing the heavy lifting for you. You're not relying on your personal network. You're not product pushing. You're not chasing people in the DMs. You are learning a skill that lets you reach the exact type of audience who is already interested in what we offer. So here's how it works. You'll learn how to place targeted ads on social platforms, the same ads you already see when you scroll. The only difference is you become the one creating them, and those platforms show your ads to thousands of people who fit the audience that you choose. And you are not doing this blindly. Our platform gives you literally everything that you need. So I'm talking templates and examples of ads that have already performed well, done for you sales tools, so you don't have to explain everything yourself. A simple beginner-friendly walkthrough showing you exactly how to launch and run your ads, and automation that runs around the clock for you, whether you're at work or with your kids or at the gym or sleeping. Your ads are still working for you, which is such a game changer to be able to lean into that, because for most of us, we're clocking into a 9 to 5 or some type of shift job where the only time you're getting paid is when you're clocked into that job. And then once you clock out, your pay gets cut off until the next day or your next shift when you clock back in. And so this is entirely different, being able to leverage automation where your business can be running for you in the background 24/7. Absolute game changer when it comes to your income streams. So really excited for you. But let's touch on that a little bit more. Your ads attract people who, saw the product or the opportunity. They clicked because they were interested, and then they reach out to you. So most people hear this part and then kind of realize like, oh, wow, I think I could actually do this. And that's exactly what I want you to take away. This whole system was built for beginners. You're learning skills, yes, but you're also plugging into tools that make the process so much easier. So now let me, show you where all the support, the training, the step-by-step guidance, all of that actually lives. So here on the next slide, I want to first highlight something that most people overlook. And it's honestly one of the biggest reasons that beginners succeed here. And it's, you are not doing this alone. You are stepping into a community of like-minded people who are learning and building right alongside of you. So people who know exactly what it feels like to start on day one, and people who are now running 6- and 7-figure businesses who pour everything that they've learned back into this group. And I cannot emphasize this enough. In a world full of bots and AI, having real humans to connect with and guide you is seriously priceless. And just like in any workplace where when you get started, you're doing some shadowing and you're asking some questions and you're learning the ropes, you get the same type of support here. You have, places to ask questions, get feedback, watch others in action, and learn from people who already have walked the path that you're starting. So you're not guessing, you're not isolated, you are plugged into a network of people who genuinely want to see you win. And that sense of community, especially when you're learning something new, it's just a total game changer. So that's something to be really, really excited about here. But now that you know you're fully supported, let me show you exactly where all the training, the tools, the mentorship, all that actually lives, so you'll be able to learn everything step by step that I've talked about. Okay, so think of this platform, and you get a little tiny glimpse into it. But think of it as your step-by-step roadmap. So everything you need to learn, set up, understand, and implement is laid out in order. So you always know what your next step is. So inside the platform, you'll get clear beginner-friendly training videos, templates and tools that you can plug right into your business, walkthroughs showing you exactly how to set everything up, and ongoing updates so that you're always learning what's working right now. There's no feeling lost. There's no piecing things together, from YouTube and stuff like that. And there's definitely no reinventing the wheel. Everything that took us years to learn, all the trial and error, it is packed into one place so you can move faster and with way less stress. And the best part, you get to build at your own pace, whether you're doing this, around work or kids or farm life or travel or just a packed schedule. The platform is available 24/7. So you can plug into it whenever you've got the time and the mental space. And these trainings, they come straight from people who built their businesses using this exact same model that you're learning about right now, which is what makes this so duplicatable and beginner friendly. But I'm going to put a pin in it there, and I'm actually going to pass the mic off to Abby, who is going to dive into the transformation process of stepping into becoming an entrepreneur with this business versus being an employee.
What is up? Oh my gosh, I know you're probably sitting there really pumped about everything that you have learned so far, about the products, the compensation plan, how we actually market these products. And what I'd like to talk about is shift gears just a little bit and talk about you as the individual and how this is going to impact you from being an employee to an entrepreneur. So if you're anything like me, I never thought I would be an entrepreneur. I really, really just thought I would be forever a employee that works my way up the ranks. And so I never really thought about the difference between employee versus entrepreneur. So I want to dive into that a little bit. But before we do that, let me reintroduce myself or introduce myself for the first time. If this is the first time you're seeing me, I'm Abby. So my background is in corporate sales in corporate America. I worked in corporate America for 16 very, very long years. And when I tell you I was burnt out, I cannot tell you and emphasize that enough. I was burnt out from working 50 to 60-hour weeks, making a lot of money for someone else, not utilizing that skill set for myself, but for a company. And by the end of the 16 years, I felt really disconnected from myself. And I realized I kind of lost my purpose and passion along the way. And in that journey, while I'm very, very grateful for the time I spent in corporate America, because it taught me some very, very valuable lessons, it also taught me that that type of work structure is not a fit for me as a person. I'm a person who needs a lot of freedom in my life. I'm a multi-passionate. I need to have a lot of things going on at the same time. And that was not happening for me in that type of job structure. So what's happened since I started my business? Well, I did retire from corporate America 8 years ago when I started my business. And I went from working 50 to 60-hour weeks to working 3 to 4 hours a day max now. So I get to focus on things that I really am passionate about, and it doesn't revolve around work. Like work had become my entire identity. And now my identity is like evolving every single day because it can, and I'm allowed to do that. And I want to share a really cool story with you. 2 weeks ago, I was going through an old journal and I totally forgot 10 years ago, I wrote this to manifest list of 111 things that I wanted to manifest into my life. And I went through that list and I have checked off all but 17 of those things. And the two biggest things that were on my list was, number one, is I always wanted to be a digital nomad. Like I wanted to experience digital nomad life. I remember sitting in my desk in my corporate office, scrolling through Instagram, like looking at people working and doing the digital nomad thing. And I was like, oh my God, I would give anything to be able to do that. Since starting my business, I did that for 3 years. I traveled around the world for 3 years, full-time, nonstop. Like that was one of my biggest dreams. And then my other big dream was to live in California, near the beach in California. Like I grew up on the East Coast, and California was always like that big vision of the future that I thought I was gonna have to wait till 65 to like actually afford to live here. 2 years ago, I transformed my life again from being a digital nomad to now being a full-time California resident living in San Diego. So in the last 8 years, I've rediscovered myself. I've rediscovered my purpose and passion in life. And it's because I decided to take a chance and do something so far out of my comfort zone that I would never have been able to experience working in the traditional work model that most of us have started in. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. So if you're sitting here and this resonates with you, just know the things that you want in your life and you're not actually being able to pursue now are possible. You just have to make some changes to get there. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what is the difference between being an employee versus entrepreneur. Well, an employee is simply someone who is working a fixed wage under a boss or company who you have voluntarily given kind of control over time, your finances, and behavior to some extent. So you're trading your time for a fixed dollar amount. An entrepreneur is someone who starts, owns, and operates their own business. They have the flexibility over their day, their schedule, and how much income they bring in. So essentially, you have full control over your time, money, and location independence. So that's kind of the high-level view. On this slide, if you've ever read the book by Robert Kiyosaki called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, this chart probably looks familiar to you. It's called the cash flow quadrant, and it really highlights the 4 different ways that you can produce income. And I'm going to quickly go over each of them with you. The first one is employee. So this is where I started. All of us on this call started in this quadrant, and you're probably, if you're watching this, probably in this quadrant today. This is where you have a typical job, 9 to 5, and you are trading your hours worked for a fixed amount of money. And the problem about this quadrant is you really have no leverage. You're really not allowed to work any more than your job allows. So you're said, here are your hours, here's what you can work, here's the money you can make. So that is fixed. Now you might have an opportunity in some cases to work overtime, but still that is very controlled and not necessarily always in your control. So you're just trading time for money, that is it. The second quadrant is self-employed. So a little bit more flexibility here because you own a job, and you will tend to see these individuals make a little bit more than just the employed individuals because you own the products and services that you're selling or offering. So you can kind of control price points, but income is still determined based on your contribution and your active efforts. So again, you don't really have much leverage here because you can't create more hours in a day to work. You are still giving your time for money. There is no leverage. So yeah, these 2 categories, you are trading time for money. And here's kind of a crazy statistic for you. 5% of the wealth generated in the United States falls into these 2 quadrants, 5%. 95% of the working population falls into these 2 quadrants. And I really want you to marinate on that as we go into the other side of the quadrants. So the next we have business owner. Then this is someone who owns a system, owns a business. So this is where you have automations in place, you have systems in place, you have people that you employ that all drive the income for you. This is where the power lies because your individual time isn't necessary to generate that money. Now, are you going to spend time on your business to grow it and scale it and to produce more income? Yes, but you can control how much you put in of your own personal time because the leverage you have here is the systems and automation and sometimes people that you have in place to do that for you versus you individually having to contribute that by yourself. That is powerful. Our most precious resource is our time. So if you can get that back and you can utilize that differently than what you do today, that is power. And then the last quadrant is the investor quadrant. This is where you own investments. This is where you use your money, you invest your money and allow that money to make more money for you. The leverage here is this is passive income. It doesn't depend on your time or active work. It is true passive income. You're just investing money and allowing it to grow for you. All right, so 95% of the wealth generated in the United States falls into these two quadrants. Only 5% of the population falls into these two quadrants. So that is power. I did not realize this. This was something that was totally new to me when I started to understand, because I think we all intuitively know there is a massive wealth distribution disparity. But when you look at it like this, it just makes so much sense. So most people are never going to be able to climb out of where they are in a 9-to-5 job. They're never going to create the type of lifestyle they want by working in that type of model. It's just impossible to do that. So you have to find a way. How do I shift to the other side of the quadrant? How do I become part of that 5% of the population? The 5 of us here talking to you right now went from the 95% that was in that 5% of wealth to the other side. And that's why we're here today, is to talk to you about how you can do that. This business model is this side of the quadrant. All right. So I'm sure at this point you feel maybe a little bit overwhelmed, really excited about everything you learned, but you probably have some questions at the front of your mind that we would love to address with you while we have you. So the first thing, and I know this was a question that I had when I watched this similar type of webinar 8 years ago when I first started. How do I know this is real? This really feels too good to be true. Okay, first of all, we would not put our faces on something that wasn't real. I've been in this business for 8 years, and I certainly would not come out here and talk to you about something that wasn't real. I wouldn't even be in business if this wasn't real. But one thing I do want to say is this isn't like an overnight get rich quick type of scheme, right? This is a real business. It does take work to build and to get where we are. And what I do want you to think about is, when you start a business like this, I don't want you to send a 3-month goal or a 6-month goal. I want you to think about this from a long-term perspective. If you can focus on growing this business for the next 3 to 5 years, like you're going to put your all into it, you are going to have the potential to be so much further along than you would be in any 9-to-5 job. And that is just the honest truth from what I've seen in my 8 years. So you have to look at this as your next career shift. You have to look at this as the next 5 years. This is the time I'm building a legacy for myself and for my future and for my family. So you have to have that type of mindset. It is not too good to be true, but you do have to work for it like anything else. How long does it take to achieve success? And this is a really good question. And there's no singular answer here. The reason is you are the key to how quickly you see results. Your individual efforts are going to be what determines how fast or slow you are successful in this business. Now, most people do start this working a full-time job. So we do recommend a minimum of 1 to 2 hours per day. So that might mean you have to sacrifice an hour of TV time or an hour of scroll time. My vice is TikTok. But you might have to sacrifice a little bit of that time to invest that time into something that's actually going to produce an income for you in your future. But if you can say, look, I can do this for 1 to 2 hours a day, you can see success in this business very quickly. And collectively, the 5 of us have been in this business from 4 to 8 years, and we've all achieved massive success, but we've done it on our own timeline. So there is no, in 6 months, this is where you're going to be. In 1 year, it's where you're going to be. It's really what you put into it. So there can be a varying degree of success in this business. Christy shared she did 50,000 in sales in her first 60 days. So that is the art of the possible. So it is what you put into it. Do I need to invest money to start? Well, duh. Yeah, absolutely. Any business venture that you start is going to require a startup investment. And you just have to remember that you are shifting your mindset from, I'm no longer trading my time for money. I'm investing money to make money for myself in the future. So as a business owner, as an investor, as that other half of the quadrant, you're going to be using money to make money. So there is investment that is going to be required up front. But don't worry, we're going to talk to you about that here next. So, what do traditional business startups cost? So, there are a lot of different ways to start businesses. A cafe can run you anywhere from $250,000 if you're starting a cafe, because you have to think about the physical location, you have to think about the employees you have to hire, you have to think about the products and the machines and equipment that you need. So that's usually around 250, 300,000. Hair salons a little bit less, like 100,000 to start up cost. Now, if you look at franchise businesses, Smoothie King, for example, which is pretty big on the East Coast, that's a $350,000 investment up front. And to break even, you need to sell 10,000 units, and you're looking at about $100,000 a year income in that type of business. And you are kind of locked in because you have to sign a lease, and you also have to lock in your time because it's hands-on. You've got to be hands-on with your employees, and you have to be there. So you're spending $350,000 and you're investing a lot of time in those type of franchise businesses. One thing I want to note is Enagic is a franchise business. So when you purchase and invest into Enagic, you are purchasing a franchise, which is an already very well-known brand. So you are buying into a franchise that is already known for the last 50 years to be a very highly successful company. So franchise businesses do very, very well. And here's the good thing is don't panic. I know the numbers on the screen, you're probably like, oh my God, there's no way. It's not even a fraction of what you're looking at with these numbers. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Christy. She's going to close us out and talk all about the investments that you're going to be looking at when you come into purchasing a franchise with Enagic.
Hi guys, I'm back. And yeah, like Abby said, to get started, there is an investment, right? In any business, there is an investment to get started. And what we're here to do is show you the different ways to dive into this business. You have already learned about all the different aspects from all the girls presenting beforehand. And so now here is your foot in the door. Here is how you can actually kickstart this thing for your own life. And so we have a few different package options. The first is our standard package option. So that is going to be our flagship model, which is our K8 water ionizer, and an entire year, an annual plan of our online empires, which is what Sarah went over. And that houses your entire back end of your business, the funnels, everything. So you'll get access to that plus one of our awesome products. And I'm just going to go through what this says here. So it says $0 cash back. What that means is when you start with our standard package option is that you are not linking 2 or more IDs together, meaning you're not getting a commission back on your own purchase, which is totally fine. Now you have your distributor rights and you can run this business and start earning income. So on the standard option, $0 cash back, you are starting out in your 1A franchise lane. You will own one of our products and you have that 12-month membership to our online empires platform. You'll also have our one-on-one mentorship, our entire community of support, and big thing is you have a global business for life. And so your investment here is going to be $6,689. That is without tax and shipping. That just depends on state tax and where you're located. That's the first option. Our second package here is called our Duo. So that is our K8 water ionizer plus our Ukon, which is our capsules, tea, and our soap, paired with, again, our online empires membership to house your back end of your business. And now you are linking 2 IDs together, which means you're immediately getting back $115 into your pocket, which is awesome. And you're going to automatically start out in your 2A franchise lane. You will own 2 of our amazing products. You have your online empire subscription, and your investment into this is going to be $9,349. Third package option here is called the trifecta. So that is 3 of our items. So you get our K8 flagship item, you get our Inespa shower hookup, and you get our Ukon supplements, tea, and soap, as well as online empires access. You're immediately going to get back $465 into your pocket when you start your business, when you invest with a trifecta package. You will start out earning in your 2A franchise lane, and you will own 3 of our amazing products. And your investment is going to be $12,769. Now, our last option here, which was gone over briefly in other segments, but this is our quad. So this tends to be our most popular option simply because how quickly you can monetize on the growth and the income whenever you start with a quad. So with a quad, you have 4 of our amazing products and you get $930 cash back immediately. Again, you are building with 4 different ID lines and distributor rights. And so that's how you get that cash back. You're going to start out in your 3A franchise lane, meaning you're earning in your 3A income tier. You will own 4 of our products. You have online empires access. You have your global business, and your investment for that is $18,659. Now, with all of that being said, it's super important to not just see the dollar sign, but to see what your ROI is going to be on the other side of that. So that's what we're going to talk about. Your startup investment and the ROI. Few things I want to mention is that your investment into these products to get your ID numbers is a tax write-off, which is huge. And then there are so many different ways to invest and fund your business that you and your coach, the person that invited you here, are going to go over together. So there's 0% interest card options. There are personal loan options. You can do a 401k withdrawal. And depending on the way you get started and what's available to you, that can be anywhere, very feasible monthly payments, anywhere from $50 to $350 per month, just based on your credit score and some other factors. And then I'm going to go over your ROI here with the different packages. Just note that all of these ROIs are based in 10 sales, and I'll remind you of that. So your standard, your one product option when you get started, the investment again is $6,689. Your ROI in 10 sales, your return on investment is just a little bit under that investment price. So that's $6,300. So in 10 sales, you're almost broke even. On your next sale, on your 11th sale, you'll be past your investment amount and you will be in the green. And then this is where it gets juicy. Then you go into the duo and you see the investment was $9,349. Your ROI in those 10 sales is $13,020. So you have broke even in just 10 sales. And not just that, but you're in the green. You have made a profit off of this. And then let's look at the trifecta. So your investment there is $12,769, and your return on investment in those 10 sales is just going to keep increasing. It's $18,480. So yes, you can see that the investment's increasing, but the amount back, the ROI that you're getting in the same amount of 10 sales is also increasing every single step of the way. So last but not least, let's look at our quad option. Your investment is $18,659. The return on that in the 10 sales is almost $40,000. It's $38,380. Pause and let that sink in. When you start with our quad option, if that's the route you go with, in 10 sales, you will make $38,380. And if you look at all of these ROI options in 10 sales, none of that is chump change, right? That's pretty good. That's a pretty good investment and ROI that you're getting back. So again, you and the person who invited you here, your coach, will walk through what works best for you. And this is what that looks like. A few closing thoughts that I want to leave you with. One, I already mentioned this, but it's huge. This is a tax write-off. When you invest, you're going to be able to write this off on your taxes. There are 100% financing options available to you. And in your first 25 sales, if you're selling quads, you will make $125,000 in commissions. Say what? You will make $125,000. We did the math multiple times to make sure that was the right number. $125,000 in commissions in 25 sales when selling quads. Let that sink in. And you're in business for yourself, but you are 100% not by yourself. We have a community of hundreds of people who are there to back you and support you. And you're just surrounded by like-minded individuals, which makes a huge difference. It's a game changer. And I mean, what is the alternative, right? You can always go back to exactly where you're at right now, but you're on this webinar because you don't want to be there, and you don't want to be there next year, and you don't want to be there in 5 years, and you definitely don't want to be there in 40 years. So right now you want to take action on this. And I want to leave you with this quote because it's really powerful when you think about your life long term. Most people work for 40 to 50 years. They retire around the age of 67, and then they face living another 10 to 20 years on a fraction of their former income in fear that they will outlive their savings. Chills. When I first read that, I had absolute chills because I think about my parents in retirement age. I just think about myself, in the future being able to retire. And you don't want to live in fear. You don't want to think, oh, when's their money going to run out? You want a true retirement plan, which Marissa went over. Whenever you have that legacy income, you truly get that here. And just to set yourself up and your family up for success is just, the piece of all peace that could be brought. And don't forget, you were drawn to this opportunity for a reason. If something excites you about what you've learned today and you feel that you could change your life just like all of us on this call in so many others, thousands of others have done, then here are your options. You could hop off this call, let the inspiration wear off, and do absolutely nothing and just keep living your life the way it is right now. You might be fine. It might be comfortable and it might be a little complacent, just like all of us were. We were all fine. We were comfortable. We were complacent, but we could have stayed there in that comfy situation. But we didn't want that, because what is comfortable at one point very quickly will turn uncomfortable as you keep wanting a shift. So you're here because you probably are going to do option number 2, and you're going to book your one-on-one call. You're going to decide what strategy aligns with your goals, and you're going to reach out to who invited you here today. Whoever invited you to this video, send them a message. You then will talk through the options with them, go through any questions that you have, and you will affiliate with your products and gain access to our 30-day business blueprint trainings and get kickstarted. But wait, that's not all. We do have a fast action bonus. So this is a limited time offer, guys. It's a value of $2,500, which means that is free for you right now. You're going to get access to something that's valued at $2,500. You're going to get it for free when you take action right now. So when you book your call within the next 24 hours, within the next day, you will receive a personalized investment strategy plan to help you get started in this business. And you'll get access to an exclusive mastermind chat for your first 60 days in business to accelerate you to success. And so with that being said, please, again, reach out to the person who invited you to this masterclass. Go ahead and schedule your call within the next 24 hours to create your personalized plan to kickstart your business. And we absolutely cannot wait to see you all on the inside. Bye.